Chapter 10. Preparing for the Big Day. While Alan worked on EE preparations, I began to think about something less spiritual, a mother of the groom dress for Joel and Brady's wedding. We had money to purchase one, but the thought of shopping for it left me feeling exhausted. It sometimes took 20 minutes to get dressed. I didn't relish the thought of trying on dress after dress or trying to drive myself to dress shops. Simple tasks for the brain-injured person takes longer. Like most men, I knew that Alan was not overly fond of accompanying women shoppers. One night, a friend who recently married off her son told me to come to her house and see if any of her outfits would work. She said that she had an elegant black dress. Just as I was waking up the next day, the memory of a gorgeous summer weight jacket from India lay gently on my mind. I could see it clearly in my mind's eye. Since it had been stored away with my summer things, it had been out of sight and out of mind. Maybe it would work over the black dress. I took it with me to my friend's house. Her sleeveless black dress that she mentioned would not have been warm enough for cold-natured me in chilly D.C., refrigerator D.C. But she had a warm, long-sleeve black velvet ensemble that was a perfect fit for me and a perfect match for the jacket. Relief flooded over me. God had granted another particular providence. My friend said, "Now just go and enjoy the wedding." Our older three children were planning to travel to Alabama for the annual Thanksgiving reunion of my family there. We knew Joel and Pratty were far too busy to consider coming down to North Carolina. Alan and I were facing the prospect of the first ever Thanksgiving without any of our children or extended family around our table. They made all the holidays special. Our Thanksgiving balloon began to deflate. But Allison called me one day to say that she and Daniel had decided to stay in North Carolina. Since we were all going to travel to D.C. a week later on December 4th, they just wanted some time to relax and stay. After all, they were on the road all week with his work. She had begun accompanying him on the road. They had plans to eat the big noon meal on Thanksgiving Day with the residents of Beacon Rescue Mission in historic Dunn, run by our mutual friends Jean and Betty Love. The Loves had been my students in a Spanish class I held for Central Baptist Church to empower the Anglos to help start a Spanish church within their church. The website of Spanish resources that I set up for the class is still active. The Loves extended an invitation for us to join Allison and Daniel at the meal. Then Joel called to say he was coming down to see us and to get all the packages that had been accumulating in our spare room, especially the king bed and a long box. He also joined us at the mission. We thoroughly enjoyed eating the turkey that Daniel cooked and lots of donated food. God was good to us. We had family, got to know the residents and volunteers at the mission, and didn't have to cook for hours as I usually did. That evening at our house, the young folks got into the kitchen and made chili and salad, so again, I didn't have to cook. Sharon had coached me after the stroke, "Now, Mama, let people serve you. You have served others for years." I gladly took her advice. Instead of offering to help in the kitchen, I was in the back room talking to Charles by phone, getting a recap on the Thanksgiving Children's Family Reunion in Alabama, enjoying it vicariously through his report. It had been 10 years since Charles had attended. He introduced everyone to his wife, Amanda, and their boys. They toured the small and big bluffs on Uncle Ronald's property where my generation has once enjoyed moments of tranquility by just looking at the scenes of nature. Sharon and Lewis did the same tour with their dogs and sent us some photos by phone. Someone was renting their chalet in the woods to attend the big Iron Bowl football game between Alabama and Auburn on Saturday in Auburn, so the Saavedras had to be out of town. After the mountain meal, they were headed to see other relatives in North Alabama and Tennessee. One thing I made sure to make time for during Thanksgiving celebration was telling Joel about the photo frame under the guest bed where he was sleeping. I had replaced the fruit picture and inserted one of his favorite engagement photos that he chose for his Facebook profile. The day had come to present it to him as my gift. It had represented the thing hoped for, face evidence of things not seen for several years. I just believed and waited. God was faithful. One thing was obvious from Joel's short visit. He was under a great deal of stress to get everything done for the wedding. He had arranged catering, flowers, musicians, invitations, and the venue for the wedding. He reserved the beautiful American International Church with its medieval architecture, stone charm, and red front door. He said that it was roomy inside. We sat down at the computer and did seating arrangements for the wedding reception. How I wished I could do more for him to take some of the load from his shoulders. When we discussed the departure of the bride and groom and the options of sparklers or tossing rice, birdseed, fabric rose petals, or bubbles, we knew exactly what he wanted. The bubbles. I said, Alice and I will take care of that. Joel left his car and borrowed our Jeep to transport his goods. That meant that someone would be needed to get his car to D.C. and our Jeep home again. Charles came to the rescue and offered to fly into North Carolina instead of going directly to D.C. Since flying a family of 4 is expensive and they had all traveled so very much by car doing itinerating, Amanda decided to stay behind with the boys. They were road weary. Charles, Alan, and I formed our little caravan and started out on the 5-hour trip on December 4th. We stopped in Virginia at a specific exit to pick up Daniel and Allison, leaving the big flatbed rig at the truck stop. We were on our way to witness our youngest make the commitment of his lifetime.